out, Andromeda. It's terrible.
You can't just call out the man. He's man. Either way, we're going into it. Sinji versus Freelancer Leo. We'll see Munnel versus Leo later on about that Gorillas argument.
However, good stuff here from Leo, just waiting in the corner there and shadow balling. Knows that Sinji is forced to approach him. I'm going for that immediate dare. Not getting a whole lot off of it. But in these first 20 seconds, 70 clean percent starting for Leo.
Yes, and while Leo has definitely has percentage lead on this, most notably, he's got a lot of shield pressure down on him from Sinji. While Sinji has been able to connect these hits, all of this item pressure has just been able to help him out a lot.
And I think that's a good adaptation there from Sinji. Realizing he's pressuring a whole lot with the Shadow Ball and rolling right into the Hydrant. But realizing that he's getting pressured a whole lot with the Shadow Ball, side being into it, and he gets actually a little bit of health off it as well.
It's a very interesting technique used by a lot of Pac-Man players that are still around these days to just try and use that as a shield. And the fact that it can heal you as well just makes it all the more valuable.
Oh, wow, and a great pressure there from Leo, knowing that Pac-Man doesn't have a whole lot of options once you take his fruit away. In my opinion, actually, Pac-Man is the third worst character in the game without fruit.
How about that's without fruit? A good Pac-Man is never without fruit, and you know this man has the fruit salad filled up.
Right, and again,
he got the full Tupperware on deck.
Oh! The Hydrant pushing him out of that up smash, allowing him to live another day. And we're gonna see if Sinji can get any pressure after that. This match has slowed down a whole lot since the beginning. Leo not really doing the best of pressuring after that first minute or so. And now we're seeing Sinji using neutral to his advantage and spacing him out a bit more.
Sinji's not going to be able to put out as much pressure as we typically be used to seeing him with these items, because as you can see, Freelancer has been making a lot of usage out of Shadow Ball and its various sizes just so he can at least counteract the Fire Hydrant and all of the bonus fruit that Sinji's been putting out to him.
Right, and the scariest Pac-Man is a Pac-Man with Bell in hand. And as you saw right there, Pac-Man, or Sinji having that Bell in hand, forced Leo into the corner and almost was able to get a read off of it. Just barely missing. Gonna grab at the Bell once more. Ooh, and not able to get that back air off in time.
And the reason we're so concerned with this Bell is that even though it alone deals 8 damage, that stun is all that Sinji needs to turn the tide of this battle. Because with sitting at 130%, that rage can make anything devastating.
Oh, and good job by Leo holding the fruit. I'm curious as to see how long he's going to hold it for. I think this is how you need to play the matchup against Pac-Man, is hold fruit for as long as possible. Make sure he can't approach you, because Pac-Man does somewhat rely on the fruit to approach. So once you get it, it can be difficult for him to get it almost at all.
Absolutely. The bonus fruit are definitely what make Pac-Man such a fantastic character.
Right, and a solid roll read there by Leo, reading Sinji's roll back into the stage and punishing for, with that up throw, taking the stock. Nice reflector there. Not getting any damage off of it, but just taking the pressure off himself.
Yeah, the way that the reflector had moved the Fire Hydrant and the key didn't even get a chance to go back to Sinji. It just sort of dissipated from the interactions with the reflected Fire Hydrant.
Again, Pac-Man with Bell in hand. It's very scary here. Oh, just barely missing out there on the air dodge.
He almost had the altered angle from the water from Fire Hydrant, but Freelancer Leo is very wise to these tricks.
Right, and that's just something you see Pac-Man do a lot with both Bell and with Melon. Just because the items are fairly reactable and slow. Ooh, no punish there. Maybe he wanted to get the back air, the turn around. Ooh, and good ledge trap there from Sinji, going to be able to take the stock.
And having only gotten 33% on board, this is still a solid match, and we've only got 2 minutes left on the clock, so the pressure is on both of these players.
Right, now what I would have wanted to see there is maybe, Leo, if you have an opportunity to grab Pac-Man's fruit, if Pac-Man is not pressuring you, and the fruit is just flying there in front of you like that Galaxian was, I think Leo needs to grab it there. Because again, I think the only reason that Sinji's been able to get as much damage as he has been either the combination of Bell, the combination of Key, and the occasional orange to pressure the landings.
Of course. And it's worth noting that as long as one bonus fruit is on the stage, Pac-Man can't spawn anymore. So Freelancer Leo can do what he can to remove the fruit from the battlefield, but if he's holding onto it, it's much more effective at the cost of the maneuverability in his areas.
And I think maybe a little bit of informality. Oh god, that's like my worst word. A little bit of Freelancer Leo not knowing the matchup. As you saw when the Melon was going up the stage, he threw it again and tried to recatch it. Pac-Man's fruit, once you throw it that second time after you have it in hand, you can't recatch the item. So him throwing that melon there ended up putting him in a bit of a disadvantage. However, grabbing the apple here, apple actually the hardest one to grab off shield. Again, trying to do it again, just missing out.
An excellent air dodge, and even though the Fire Hydrant interacted with the bonus fruit that was charging up, I think that was Bell, still wasn't able to knock it out of his hands.
Oh, and a timeout is certainly a possibility here. Only 45 seconds left on the clock. Oh, just barely missing the punish with the Bell throw. However, Leo doing a good job of getting off the stage and GIing out to avoid that F smash. Good grab there from Sinji, knowing that the Bell wasn't active anymore.
Yeah, the pressure's on right now with 20 seconds left on the clock. Both of these players sitting in very close percentages. Technically, Leo doesn't have to approach. He has the percentage lead, but Sinji at any moment can make this match turn.
Right, and Pac-Man is a character that does get really good damage off of his combos. So, if Sinji does not get a little bit of percent right here, he is really close right now.
And he is able to run away in time with the timeout win. Freelancer Leo is going to be taking game one.
There's good stuff there from Leo to get the timeout. A couple timeouts already on stream this tournament. Leo is definitely not a person to, with any amount of, I guess you would say, he really doesn't time out people. Ever.
No, it's certainly not one of his usual strategies, but he's, as you said earlier, he's a very adaptive player.
Yes.
And as you've been able to hear or see from him here at Xeno, he's someone who wants to win. He's got the fire in him, and he will let it flare.
Yeah, in my opinion, he is one of the people with the absolute most fire in him at Xeno. He wants to win almost more than anyone, I would say, here.
That being said, Sinji is definitely no stranger to being the recipient and the giver of timeouts. Very reminiscent of the older days of Xeno, where Sinji versus John Numbers.
The classic matchup. I think that the amount of times they have played and gone to timeout is, I would say, above half, I would almost imagine. Like, two defensive characters in Wii Fit and Pac-Man, so I think that's no surprise.
And it's very much worth noting that they've played a lot. Saying that around half of those matches went to timeout is certainly, a sizable feat.
They haven't played so much recently. Sinji I don't think has shown for the past couple Xenos. However, when they do play, it is a spectacle to watch, and I think you should at least once in your life watch a Sinji versus John Numbers match.
If anything, it's nice to have in the background while you're in the middle of doing something more productive, like watching paint dry, counting blades of grass,
watching John Numbers and Sinji. All pretty equivalent. However, something not nearly as maybe painful to watch is going to be Leo versus Sinji. And again, Leo's done a really good job overall of just forcing Pac-Man to the side of the stage and pressuring him. And this is another slow game coming out from both of these players. Not nearly as fast of a start as usual. Not expecting the key there, I guess. Getting hit by it.
Yeah, notably, Leo is currently in the percentage deficit right now, and Sinji's just controlling the momentum of this match to a very slow crawl. This is something that we've seen that he's more comfortable with, and we can see why. He has all this time to prepare his traps.
Nice, and a good trap there, just as you were mentioning it. Putting that Bell down into the down throw, getting a really nice amount of percent. Didn't get much off the down throw. Pac-Man doesn't really have a whole lot of combo throws. Oh! Sinji didn't have the item on deck that he wanted, not going to be able to get that punish. But a really solid lead here for him.
And just the simple jab one on the Fire Hydrant covers so much space because it doesn't carry it too far.
Right, and the key going to be able to kill Sinji there at that, or kill rather Leo there at that percent. Miku, again, one of the lightest characters in the game. So even though Key is not absolutely strongest projectile in the game, it is still going to be able to take it right there.
And unfortunate, the hidden fourth taunt of Pac-Man, the grab.
72 frames of end lag in Pac-Man's grab. So definitely one of the, if not the worst grab in the game. However, that one grab doesn't seem to matter right now, as Sinji has lapped Leo in percent, doing a great job this game too.
Now, right now, Freelancer is struggling a lot with trying to force the approach out on him, and his own approach options just aren't really amounting to too much advantage. He's not getting that much percentage out onto Sinji. The trades aren't working in his favor, and we are not seeing that same kind of patience out of him that we saw in Game 1.
And now we're seeing Sinji abuse the frame 1 trampoline to wherever he's getting pressured on shield. The trampoline comes out frame 1, which forces the opponent in the air. The hitbox itself comes out frame 3. So it's an absolutely super fast option from Pac-Man. Oh, and they're both gonna go down. They went on the red trampoline at the same exact time and both died to it.
We're
Leo,
gonna chalk that up to unlucky.
unlucky. Leo, Leo, being a little cheeky and trying to get that last hit. Certainly a way to get Pac-Man in a fairly reliable fashion, but I don't think I've ever seen both of them go down at the same time.
So the trampoline itself does allow for multiple characters to interact with it at once, and if they interact with that final press, they're forced into free fall. So it was certainly not the most worthy of trades for Freelancer Leo, but either way, it will be bringing us into Game 3.
And I'm curious as to how that happened, because it was only the second. It was the second jump, so it was red. However, he still had one more bounce off of it. So I'm curious as to how that happened. Wasn't some really odd interaction there on stage, but a good counter pick here, I think, from Leo. I think Battlefield personally is Mewtwo's best stage. He does a very good job of pressuring on those platforms with up tilt, with up air, and certainly with that fair as well, and catches those landings that maybe Pac-Man might be prone to because he is such a floaty character.
On top of that, the tri-platform layout of Battlefield is going to give a lot more room for Freelancer Leo to move around defensively, because Sinji's going to have to worry about the placement of the fire hydrant so much more as opposed to if he had a flatter surface or less platforms to worry about.
Once Leo gets Sinji into a situation like he's in at the ledge, Pac-Man's frame data, while good, isn't really a very good at like using get off the options unless he's on the ground. So once he's in the air, he's gonna have difficulty landing because he is so floaty.
We're seeing these little cheeky interactions here and there, but Freelancer Leo is the one with the percentage lead currently. Not by much, though. This can turn at the blink of an eye.
And another slow match to start off here. I think last match ended so much quicker just because of Freelancer Leo had to pressure Sinji after he took that first stock, and it came to the point where he was just kind of throwing out some panic options that Sinji ended up punishing. But this game, really slow, 2 minutes in, still no stocks taken. However, we're seeing the neutral interactions here going right now in Sinji's favor.
Because Battlefield is so large and the triplat layout is so defensively oriented, whoever controls that base platform controls this stage to its entirety.
And we saw Sinji doing very effectively just there, controlling the middle of the stage and ending Leo's stock as he landed on Hydrant, knowing that you cannot shield once the Hydrant is destroyed under you, and you can get S-smashed for it, and right there, Sinji making an excellent punish.
You know, that spiral on the ground is an excellent marker to figure out a prime spot of controlling the stage, because it's there that you know that the fire hydrant can only come between the two platforms. You know that the projectiles either have to bounce off of or go through the platforms, and there's so much room to think that Freelancer Leo has all the time in the world to set up these excellent kill options.
Right, and reading that roll in, I think it's fairly, maybe not quite obvious, but I think Leo has been looking for that roll almost the whole set, and Sinji giving it to him just there. And you know, good punish there, reading the disable into up smash, and making the game fairly even. Only a 40% deficit, certainly something that Mewtwo can come back from. His fair string is to a whole lot of percentage.
And Freelancer Leo now in control of the Galaxy ship. It's not going to do much use to him, though, just throwing it straight up. The ship travels at a very awkward angle, but it's not going to be covering much space when thrown directly upwards.
And a good deflector there from Leo. Going to be able to force Pac-Man back onto the platform. However, Sinji here with stage control, using all that projectile pressure to force Leo into the corner.
I like that Freelancer Leo isn't charging Shadow Ball to its fullest, just trying to use it whenever he has the time to charge it up. And it's worth noting that Shadow Ball doesn't need to be fully charged to have full utility. It's just a matter of having that projectile pressure out on Sinji, forcing him to put out some sort of ranged option.
And something I've noticed, now that we're on a stage with platforms, I'm seeing a whole lot of Sinji. Once Freelancer Leo has the fruit, he knows that he can't really get those approach options off. So he's going to just camp those platforms and safely wait until Leo potentially throws the fruit, even if he does have to take a little bit of damage in the process. However, right here, can't really afford to take that damage, being that he is in a deficit with only 1 minute and 45 seconds left.
Yeah, we're stretching into the last ends of this set, and at very close percentages, Freelancer Leo is going to be taking the lead.
Another roll he was looking for right there. Didn't quite give it to him that time with Sinji. However, with the stage control here, Freelancer Leo can, with a couple more forwarders, is going to be able to get this stock. Oh, and the reflected Hydrant. Hydrant when reflected is incredibly strong. So another one of those might end Sinji's stock. Oh, and he had the roll read disabled in the wrong direction.
And now a definitive percentage lead with 1:10 on the clock. Sinji has to figure out some sort of way of turning things around, or else this set is Leo's.
All these rollbacks from Sinji, trying to get himself into the corner maybe just to escape the pressure from Leo. However, getting center stage here, gonna see if he can capitalize on it. A lot of rolls coming out from both players this last stock. Maybe a little bit of nervousness here, as they both are quite close to death percent. Ooh, and the disable, they're hitting Pac-Man aerially, so not gonna get the stunned animation that it is known for.
Yeah, the latent hitboxes on it do something. Very little knockback, but it's notable nonetheless, especially in a tense situation like this. Crawling to the last 25 seconds of the match.
And a great nair from Mewtwo, using that lingering hitbox to hit Pac-Man on his neutral getup. Oh, and the bell. Okay, Pac-Man with the bell in hand. This is incredibly scary here for Freelancer Leo. Oh, and not going to take it just yet. Only getting the nair off of it.
A good amount of percentage right now.
Oh, and a good up air coming out from Leo. Not going to take it just yet. Battlefield with a high ceiling. Oh, and I wasn't even realizing it. It's like your timeout right now. And it's going to be same situation again. Oh, he just missed it!
Barely manages to miss it.
Oh,
and Freelancer Leo will take Game 3 off of a timeout.
Oh my goodness, look how close this was. Freelancer Leo, realizing that it was in a timeout situation, did not need to approach any longer. Just waiting for Sinji to approach him, running off the stage, and Sinji almost getting it off, just barely missing.
If he had